Fort Kochi has been on the tourist map much, much longer than Matanjari. Although Matanjari history is more, it's stronger, it's culturally actually very deep. You look at, in terms of music, in terms of the architecture, it's absolutely fantastic. You look at the spice trade and trade that goes back from the time of the flood at Kodungallur, so that's about 1341. So you have the harbor there around that area, and the trade took place in Matanjari. But Fort Kochi is where people lived, and that's where the British lived and the Dutch lived. That was home. And for some reason, people came and took up old homes here, and they converted them to homestays. The hippies started coming here first, and now, of course, it's a very it's a place to be, sort of. And I think that's why where the difference lies. But Matanjari, when you look at Matanjari now, it's catching up, especially with the Biennale, and then we have more art galleries coming up, and we have people taking up old buildings and developing it. It's also where a lot of communities literally huddle together and live. We have 13 different communities in that area, which is that's a lot in a small little place. So it still holds that. While Fort Kochi is wider, there's more space. It's easier to kind of work around a touristic idea. While having a hotel or something the bang in the middle of Matanjari, it takes a little bit of effort, thinking, as well as a courage in many ways, because there can be displacement, although employment is created or whatever. It's also not probably the cleanest place that somebody wants to go and live, but it's changing. But in terms of culture and architecture, I think Matanjari holds so much, especially the architecture. When you look at it, there's a little bit of Dutch. And then you move and then you see the Arab influence that was there. Because the Arabs only came via their ships. They had children with women here. They never married them. So so that's where the word Mapilla comes. Ma means mother, and they were known as the children of mother. They didn't really refer to them as the fathers. So it's very beautiful to see the culture, and then you have the Saraswat Brahmins who came, and then you have the Jews, and we have the king who lived there till he moved to Tripunithara. So culturally, I think it's actually very, very strong. It's just that here was where the empires ruled from. We have the Catholic head was here, the diocese was here, and we had the Portuguese and the British and the English living here. So that's where the balance kind of tilted, but I think it's going to balance out soon. The cultural diversity, when you look at it, it's amazing, because you're talking about 1 square mile, and 1 square mile holds so much. It's actually brimming with it. My fear is that it shouldn't be lost in the whole idea of tourism, because people are moving out, and people hold so much of culture. People are culture. So we have very few Anglo-Indians living here now. Jews, of course, they have migrated and they've moved. And in fact, that's a project I'm just going to cut in and talk to you about, is what I'm doing with Kashi as a community project for the Biennale. And I'm working with an Jewish Israeli artist who's a third generation Kochini Jew in Israel. And we're connecting what happened during the migration. The transition is a gap. Nobody really knows. There are a lot of hidden stories. A lot of them have been brushed under the carpet. The rich merchants who left from here lived as refugees there, so they don't want to talk about a lot of things. So we're connecting archives through art. And that's the project that we're working on. So we've been working on it for about a year now, and we're going to have the first part of it at the Biennale, and then continue it, and hopefully even with the museum in Tel Aviv. So that's, there's so much that's possible. And instead of losing the architecture, and instead of losing the food and the identities of people, we can preserve it. So it's something that we need to cherish, which I'm a little afraid that we might lose it, but not necessarily so. It's a melting pot of ancient cultures, and with the Biennale coming and art galleries actually investing in culture, and there's not really much of trade going on. There's not much of art trade going on here. Very little. I mean, you compare it to other parts of India, but there's so much of culture that's happening through the galleries. And that's where I think hats off, to the gallery owners who actually take that effort to do it, because you're preserving it for both the tourists as well as the locals. For about 10, 12 years, very few locals were involved in the art gallery. I've been associated with as a writer, as a curator, but now you have more people involved, and the intellectual idea behind it is is changing, which is beautiful. You know, we have the schools we work with, and when we bring the kids over, they have umpteen questions to ask the artists. So it's not just ancient culture anymore. There's contemporary culture that's sprouted, and there's also international culture that's coming, and I think it's absolutely fantastic.